Hey, what's going on, guys? Let's talk oil paint. I've had some growth over the last 2 weeks, and I feel humbled again because I think in the last video I was just making a general video about how you should not start with like cheap oil paints, and something I felt like I was now doing, right. Like I was working, in my opinion, with a much higher quality of oil paints, which were the Winsor& Newton uh, brand. And then something happened. Uh, these are great. These are great paints, and you can find them in Blick's. You can find them in Michael's. Like pretty much any art store will have these. They're not too cheap either. Uh, but I decided to try something that scares me a lot, or scared me a lot. I kind of conquered it over the last few days. Was painting, and I forget what it's called. Like, is it alla prima? It's, I think that's what you call it. It's sitting down and painting something in one pass, right? Like you're sitting down and you're knocking something out, start to finish, or wherever your start to finish may be. As you'll see, because I'll show you guys some examples. My start to finish is not like your technical start to finish, because it's just I did a lot of studies. I wanted to go through a lot of work to get comfortable. And what I found out is that these are terrible for that purpose. Prior to doing like this alla prima approach, I was doing a lot of glazing. As I discussed in the previous video, it's, you know, kind of going black and white and then just kind of filling in. I would put in the values and then I would colorize it as so. This was done with this sort of paint. I think it looks great. It came out great. I still have to finish a little bit in here, but when I tried doing the one pass attempt, sitting down and finishing it, I found out that these were terrible because little did I know these are our student grade, the Winton ones. And they are like pretty much like half filler. So when you're trying to mix them or when you're trying to layer them, they would muddy up really quickly. And I will show you guys what I mean by this. This is one of the first paintings that I did, or like tests that I did of myself, right? And you can see, yes, laugh at it. I'm keeping it because I know it turned out bad, but I'm keeping it because it is a good gauge of like a starting point. So I'm not sure if the camera's going to pick it up. Let's see if it'll focus. We can see it was really difficult for me to control any type of value here. A little bit of blending kind of blended it in. And this was not me technically like blending paints in, if you know anything about painting. I was trying to pick up new colors, place them on top, and they were just sort of like semi-transparent. So I struggled a lot. And then I struggled some more. I did little tests like these. This was me just trying to figure out, this was a random face. This was me. I have one of those, like a model of a face that you can kind of turn, and you can see how the reflections of the light hit each point of the face. So this was a test of that. This was a study of that. Yes, it looks terrible, but it taught me some things. But this is where it kind of dawned on me, like, listen, something's not right. Something is not right, and I feel like it might have to do with the paint that I'm using, that I'm thinking it's good, because I'm really struggling with it here, and then even here where I'm just using like these planes, right? Almost like polygons. It just felt off. So I decided to go and advance the gamblins. And this is not going to be about paint, but I'm bringing these up because these are the three colors that I used for all the subsequent paintings that I'm about to show you guys. And it didn't start all good. It didn't start all good. I think this was one of my first ones. It was a picture of my daughter that I tried to, like a portrait, and it turned out pretty funny. I showed it to my wife, seeing if she can recognize my daughter, and she's like, "Yeah, what, who is that?" So this was terrible, terrible test. Then I followed with this, which was a little bit better, but still way off. I mean, she looks super kooky, and but it got a little bit better, right? Here I'm already using the new paints. It's all just based off of those three colors, blue, yellow, and red, mixed together. So I'm learning how to mix colors and to make any color that I need. but I'm having a lot of problems when it comes to values and getting the proportions of the face just how I want them. I then decided to work on my own face, right? My own face. And this was before I realized I was using too little paint. But I wanted to focus in on the features. And I'm like, okay, let's get these features done right. So I got the features done right. And this was the first one that actually I was happy with. It doesn't look great. It almost feels like watercolor. It was very lightly applied. It was mostly paint and solvent here. It's like an underpainting, if you may. But it started taking me in the right direction, which I followed shortly thereafter with this eye, which I felt at the time, I'm like, okay, I'm getting somewhere, right? And this was like I tried to do one a day, right? They're like, all of these took me about an hour each. So I'm like, okay, this right now I'm looking at it, it sort of looks crappy, but at the moment when I did it, I was very happy with it. I was very, very satisfied with this, which I then followed up by, well, I'll go in order. There's another eye coming up. And then I quickly switched to a more of my style, which is a character, not a caricature, but more like, I don't know, like retro cartoon style. This design is not my own, but I decided to see if I can recapture it without any tracing, right? The whole point for me was I don't want to draw, I don't want to use boxes, I don't want to transfer anything, I don't want to sketch. I just want to be able to sit down and paint on a white canvas or whatever the canvas may be. Just paint. Just think about it like all the color, the values, the shapes, the composition, like everything in one go, just to make it enjoyable and finish it. And even though that I sort of strayed away from this style, you'll see soon, because the more I was doing it, the more it started to dawn on me what my kind of like the flow state. We can talk about the flow state soon, but the flow state started hitting me on these. Like at a certain point, I hated it, and then I got into this flow, and then I kind of lost myself in the painting process. And when I snapped out of it, I didn't hate it anymore. Whatever I was looking at was making me happy. So this was the first one that made me happy. Well, the eye was, I guess, the first one. And then I decided to paint myself again. So I showed you guys, I believe, two of them. So this was the first one, right? We'll just start with this one. And then I decided to take a picture of myself making a weird face and to paint myself again. And I am very, very pleased with this. This was kind of the breakthrough point in my thought process of what I'm doing and which direction I should be going in. Now, as anything goes, there was a lot of up and down. I felt, okay, I got here. The next one's going to be way better. It's just going to be an improvement. And I think the next one was a bit of a dip, or at least my wife will say that it was a bit of a dip. I decided to use one color only, blue, just to work on the values, or like blue with and this was a portrait of my wife, and it doesn't do her justice. I like her jaw is way too big. There's a droopy eye. I mean, if you know her, you would say this sort of looks like her. Maybe I'm trying to find a way, like like this maybe. If, like that might be the closest version. But like if you look at it, it's off. It's off. So I felt like this was a dip. The breakthrough that I had in the prior one, I lost it here. But I didn't feel like, oh no, this sucks. I still had like hope. And the next one I did, I don't have it here. I actually took it downstairs to the garage to dry. I really like it. Was of Clint Eastwood. It was a 15-minute portrait of his face where I found reference of his face in black and white, but I decided to do it in color. And it turned out great. Like for me, it's one of my favorite ones. I'm so angry right now that I forgot to bring it up here. But if you guys go to my shorts, it's there. I think I called it Clint Short. It's dope. It's dope. So give that a view, which I then followed up, I believe, shortly thereafter. Oh, I should grab these with the little mini easels because they're still wet. These are drying. They need like a few weeks to dry. With Hitchcock. Now this was me again going back to, so even though I did this from reference of Hitchcock himself, come on, focus. I don't think it looks bad. It looks more cartoony. So it's sort of like, again, I fell back onto my natural style, which is more cartoony. So I went from like looking at actual reference, but what I took from that reference was mostly values and maybe distances between the pupils, between the nostrils and the mouth, and I'm happy with this. With this, I think this was a hour, maybe a little bit over an hour. I'm happy with the way it turned out. I'm done with it, and it was one sitting, right? It was just do it and you're done with it, and it was a great test in my opinion. So I've been trying to again do like one a day, and then I'm gonna bring back that eye because I'm gonna show you guys. Remember, this is the eye that I said that I was happy with on the beginning. This is like my first eureka moment. And then check this out. So the next eye I'm gonna show you is about, I don't know, 5 days later. Check this out. Like I can see a lot of improvement. It took about the same time to do this than it was to do this one. Well, I feel a lot more flesh tones in here. I started paying attention to the actual eye itself, not just the pupil, but the actual corners where there's a little bit of like this pink, whatever the hell we have there showing, flesh or whatever the connecting tissue is. I just, this was a bit of a harder piece, but I also noticed that putting more paint went a long way. Whereas in the previous pieces I was using less paint and more solvent. So little by little, like a dumbass, I am making these little like steps forward. Sometimes I'm stepping backwards, sometimes I'm stepping forward, but I am trying my best to improve, and hopefully you guys feel that I am, because technically I felt like in the last video I was already speaking like a year into oil painting, thinking like I knew something, and now it just dawned on me that I knew nothing, because what I felt were good paints were not, at least not for what I needed. So this is my favorite. You guys will know I love the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and last night I sat down, and it's like my, and I already painted this morning, so I have another short. But if you go to the second short, you'll see a painting I did of Michelangelo. I'm so proud of this, guys. This, I think, turned out freaking awesome. And again, it was done using 3 colors only. The 3 primary colors. I did all the mixing myself. And I'm extremely proud of this because I didn't, again, there was no sketching, there was no planning. I just started, I think I started with his eyes. I've just been starting with the eyes. I figured like if I can knock out the eyes and just kind of paint outwards, and my technique, not really my technique, I've just, the way I've seen other people do it was to kind of start with the dark values, dark tones, and build all the way up to the light ones. So that's what I've been trying to do. But I'm extremely proud of this piece because I was able to do this in 15 minutes from scratch using 3 colors. It's far from being great. It kind of looks faded, and but it looks like him. And even if you watch the short, you can see the progression when you're like, I'm watching it myself, and I'm like, oh, this looks like shit. This does not look good. This does not look good. Oh, I'm kind of seeing him there. And then like there's a point where it goes, boom, there he is. It goes from looking really off to capturing that moment. It's like, oh wow, that's all it took. It was just a few highlights to kind of like bring him into reality. And yeah, it's just a good time. It's just awesome time. Now this next, I did the next one this morning. I've been like, this is how excited I am about this stuff. And I have so many. I have like these little panels, these 4x6s. I bought so many of them. I think I have like 40 more I need to knock out. So before I get into bigger paintings, I'm doing a lot of these studies, and I try to do one a day. But I was so excited. I did Michelangelo last night, which was, I think I started like around 9 p.m., finished him like around 10. And this morning I woke up around 6:30 a.m. Everyone was asleep, and I just quickly ran into here to my studio, and I'm like, let's knock out another one. And a lot of times finding the content of what to paint is an issue. So I've been falling back on what I love, which is like 80s and 90s movies, nostalgia. That's why, well, I guess Hitchcock is way before that, but I was born in the 80s. So for me, that's kind of where everything starts. And I decided to do Michael Winslow from Police Academy. So I did him this morning. He's super wet, so I have to be careful not to drop him. It was the same deal. He's not, let's see, focus. He is not, I'm gonna get dirty here, I gotta hold it. He's not like perfect, far from it, but it was the same deal as with Michelangelo. At a certain point, he just started popping, and it went from like something unrecognizable to something that, at least in my opinion, it looks pretty dope for 1 hour of work. And this is 1 hour of, I told you guys I was gonna get dirty. 1 hour of work that was quite enjoyable. Let me put him right here. I'll clean up afterwards. So, thankfully, by the way, if you have old shirts, even like old socks, whatever you have, wash them and then get them, use them for rags for oil painting. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at, guys. So there's this wonderful book. I'm gonna plug it. I'm not sure if anyone has. Again, this is me like a dumbass, but Blue and Yellow Don't Make Green. It's fantastic. This is what I've been following and why I'm only using 3 colors. Technically, I've bought some more, but what this has taught me was the actual names of the colors, like ultramarine blue and cadmium yellow light, and there's cadmium red, and there's another another yellow that I picked up called cadmium lemon, right? And like, what is the difference between these two yellows? They look almost identical. Like you couldn't tell them apart if you think about it. But in this book, I found out on a microscopic level what, I guess they call it chroma, but it's not the hue, it's how it reflects light, right? The cadmium, M-I-U-M, cadmium yellow reflects into the orange, where cadmium lemon reflects into the green. So if I mix the cadmium yellow with the red, I'm getting an orange. But if I'm mixing it with the lemon, it's starting to fall into this kind of a muddy color. Same as if I mix the blue, ultramarine blue with the lemon, I'm gonna get a greener color. But when I'm mixing it with this yellow, there's like a range of which colors you're gonna get. And technically what I found out, I need probably maybe 5 or 6 tubes of paint, learn them to be able to match any type of color that I want. Almost like your printer, like CMYK or RGB on your computer screen. There's just a little bit of variation, like which colors you can get with these yellows. And so I have 2 blues now, 2 yellows, and 2 reds, and I'm trying to learn the scope. For the most part, for every painting that I've done that I've showed you guys, I've only used 3 colors, not counting white. I do have white. White's just kind of, I use it to lighten the colors. But yeah, this book is great because it really shows you, and I'll show you guys. I bought this book used because I think it's pretty expensive. But here talks about every one of these yellow colors and every one of these blue colors. But the cool part is, even on a microscopic level, like how the pigment is actually looking when the mixing happens. But here's a really good explanation of why does a certain red and a certain blue, you would think they would make purple, but no, they don't. They make brown. They make like a muddy color until you actually find that proper mixture that you need of the proper blue or the proper red to be able to get that purple hue. So I'm doing a lot of studying, and not only like on a technical level, the color wheel level, but on a almost like a muscle memory. I'm trying to figure out which brushes work well for me. I'm trying to figure out how much paint works well for me. So that's why I'm flooding you guys with a lot of these daily mini paintings. But I'm really loving it, guys. Like it feels so good. Like that flow state. I think I'll make a video on flow state in general. Feels so great. Like I can just talk about it. It's like the best meditation ever once you get into it. You know, sometimes I'll paint and I'll put on something to listen to, either like a podcast or it's mostly podcasts, something I don't have to look at. And once you go into this to the flow state, even that, I can't even hear it anymore. I'm just in the zone, and I think I'm addicted to it. Like I think I have found my dragon, and then the chase is on because it feels great. It feels great. It feels great to be able to get that type of sensation and type of feeling being sober, you know, not being under the influence of anything, which is great, and it makes me very happy because it not only does it feel great, I feel like it's going to be beneficial to my health in general. It does feel like I'm meditating. I feel mentally better every time I step away from a canvas, even though these canvases are so super tiny. But I'm gonna finish it here, guys. I want to talk for a few minutes. It is now like over 20 minutes, so I'll catch you guys later. Thank you for your support. Click like, subscribe if you can. If you like painting, yeah, I'm in it for the long run. So we'll talk a lot about paintings. I will be back on animation, but right now I'm gonna follow my heart with these guys and hopefully improve. You know, however long it takes. I hope it takes a long time because I'm having a lot of fun with it. Cheers.